Good afternoon, everyone. Would everyone please stand and welcome the entering class of PhD graduate students at Case Western Reserve University School of Medicine. Please be seated. Good afternoon, students, faculty, parents, family, and friends. Welcome to Seeds of Discovery, our 6th annual PhD White Lab Coat Ceremony at Case Western Reserve University. I'm Paul McDonald, the Associate Dean for Graduate Education in the School of Medicine, and I'm thrilled to have you all here enjoying this beautiful day in Cleveland. This is our 6th year for this event, and so far, we've always been blessed with good weather. The sun literally shines on our students on Seeds of Discovery Day. It doesn't always happen in Cleveland. The purpose of Seeds of Discovery is to formally recognize and welcome this entering class of PhD students as they begin their training in the profession of biomedical research. While hundreds of white coat ceremonies are held throughout U.S. medical schools each year to recognize their medical students, Case Western Reserve is one of only a handful of medical schools that also recognize their PhD students in this way. The title, Seeds of Discovery, is taken from a quote that is attributed to a famous 19th century American physicist, Joseph Henry. The seeds of great discovery are constantly floating around us, but they only take root in minds well prepared to receive them. This Seeds of Discovery ceremony proclaims the value of our PhD students and what that value brings to the School of Medicine, the significance of these young scientists in fulfilling the research mission of the School of Medicine, and indeed the entire overall mission of the entire university. It also affirms our commitment to you, our young colleagues, to provide the best educational approaches, training experiences, mentoring relationships, and individualized skill development that will prepare your minds not only for uncovering groundbreaking biomedical research discoveries, but also to become future leaders of academic, industrial, and other research-intensive professions. We are here together to celebrate this group of PhD students, a truly international, diverse, and accomplished collection of young scholars. There are a total of 85 students entering PhD programs in the School of Medicine this year, 34 through our interdisciplinary biomedical sciences training program, 20 in biomedical engineering, 17 in other programs, and 14 students from our medical scientist training program or dual degree MD PhD track. These 14 students are currently entering their third year or the PhD phase of their training program. Of these 85 students, about half are female and half are male. You come from 12 different countries, including China, India, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Nigeria, Bangladesh, Turkey, and others. You come from 23 different states, including California, Colorado, Georgia, Florida, the Carolinas, New York, and a number of others. 21% are from the great state of Ohio, and 8 students, or roughly 10% of you, are from our nationally recognized undergraduate school here at Case Western Reserve. You come to us from other highly prestigious research-intensive institutions, including WashU, Cornell, Chicago, Stanford, UCLA, and others. Your average GPA is about 3.7, average GREs are in the 75th percentile, and you all average approximately 2 years of research experience even before you get here to Case Western Reserve. It's amazing. The richness and diversity of this group of entering students will add tremendous value to the intellectual environment here in the School of Medicine, and we are all looking forward to reaping that harvest. This is an exciting day for me and for the entire School of Medicine. I love this event. I love this day. It's a day to truly enjoy and celebrate not only our new students, but all of our students, faculty, staff, and leaders of this amazing educational and research enterprise that is Case Western Reserve University. This is a day to relish all the positives, reflect on all the great accomplishments of our past and current students, and to absorb all the new energy, enthusiasm, ideas, and contributions that you will all bring to our classrooms, laboratories, scientific conferences, and social gatherings. I want to recognize the chairs and the graduate program directors that are attending and participating in Seeds of Discovery. These are some of the greatest minds in the nation and some of the busiest people in the world. They are out there sitting among their students and will help them into their new lab coats in a few moments. The symbolism is obvious, but the reality is these program leaders care deeply about our students, their progression through the various programs, and they are committed to their success at CWRU and beyond. I want to take a moment to again welcome and recognize the parents, family members, partners, and friends that are here with us today, as well as those that were unable to attend. We had over 160 in attendance at the family and guest luncheon today, some traveling as far away as California, Florida, Connecticut, and even Jose's parents from Puerto Rico. We got to know the families a little better, and they also heard from many of our brightest students about what their students will be experiencing throughout their PhD training. Your students would not be here without your continual lifelong support, encouragement, and love. Would all of the parents and family members and friends of the students please stand up and be recognized by us all? I began this session with a quote from a 19th century physicist, and I want to end, as I always do, with my favorite quote from a modern day physicist. I love the quote by Stephen Hawking that ended the movie The Theory of Everything. In reflecting on his passions for understanding the origins and the expansion of the universe, as well as his lifelong battle with ALS, or Lou Gehrig's disease, he states, "It is clear that we are just an advanced breed of primates on a minor planet orbiting a very average star in the outer suburb of one among 100 billion galaxies. But ever since the dawn of civilization, people have craved for an understanding of the underlying order of the world. There ought to be something very special about the boundary conditions of the universe. And what could be more special than there is no boundary? And there should be no boundary to human endeavor. I hope your experience here at Case Western Reserve University is filled with success, and that your life journey is not limited by boundaries that you or others might try to impose along your way. Everything is possible." Again, a final welcome to everybody attending the ceremony. I wish you a grand, rewarding, and memorable experience today. It is now my honor and my extreme pleasure to introduce this year's Seeds of Discovery keynote speaker, our own Dean of the School of Medicine, Dr. Pamela B. Davis. Dean Davis has had a long professional career as a pediatric pulmonologist, an international expert in cystic fibrosis research, and a national leader in health, medicine, health policy, and biomedical sciences. She has been the Dean of the School of Medicine at Case Western since 2007, and in 2014, she was elected to the highly prestigious National Academy of Medicine. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dean Davis.
Well, thank you, Paul, and thank you for inviting me to speak today. I'm really honored to welcome another excellent class of new scientists and researchers to our extraordinary school. Your future is bright with opportunity. What you learn over the next several years and what you discover over your lifetimes will advance medicine, develop future therapeutic approaches, and advance the search for cures. You will uncover knowledge that did not exist before you entered the lab. You will be providing the concepts that will be written up in future textbooks. You will shape future thinking with your experiments. There's a huge responsibility associated with this profession. It demands unshakable integrity, drive, a passion for research and discovery, and a questioning mind. Some of you will eventually move from the lab to the clinic, interacting with patients and becoming inspired by their stories. But even if you never meet a patient, or even if patients never learn the names of those whose research makes their treatments or their recoveries possible, your scientific achievements will influence their lives in major ways. Some years ago in my lab, we were investigating the overzealous inflammatory response in cystic fibrosis lungs to infection. Now, cystic fibrosis is an hereditary disease marked by impaired chloride ion transport that eventually takes the lives of its victims, mostly through lung infection. All CF children become infected in their lungs, and eventually nearly all acquire a nasty bacterium called Pseudomonas aeruginosa. And at the time, there was a prevalent belief that a massive inflammatory response was necessary to contain that nasty infection. Our work, however, suggested that it was the white blood cells in the inflammatory response that were doing the most damage to the patient's lungs. If that was true, then controlling the inflammatory response might be of help. But the prevailing opinion was that reducing the inflammatory response might be dangerous and allow the infection to run wild. After studies in cells and animals, we cautiously proposed a clinical trial of anti-inflammatory therapy. At the end of that trial, it was gratifying to see that the patients treated with the anti-inflammatory drug had a lot less loss of lung function than those who received placebo. Later studies showed that even patients treated under less precisely controlled conditions benefited from anti-inflammatory therapy. And most recently, our group has been able to show that this treatment actually lengthens survival. And it all came from the fundamental studies in the lab that actually went against the grain. At Case Western Reserve, we ask you to think beyond the possible. So I want you to consider what that really means at your stage in the education. Imagination and conviction will take you far. Now, as undergraduates, we often expect our teachers to distill information into easily digestible bits for us. But this ceremony marks the transition from that time to the self-directed learning that you will practice for the rest of your lives. Today, you become our junior colleagues, driven by self-directed learning and a passion for in-depth understanding. Our PhD programs are not a continuation of your undergraduate experience. We will look to foster your intellectual curiosity, scholarship, and critical thinking. Yeah, you'll learn some facts and you'll learn some contemporary concepts, but you'll also learn to look at conventional thought with a critical eye, to value intellectual creativity, discovery, sound scholarship, and having that critical eye and asking the right questions. You'll work with peers and experts, collaborate on ideas, and you will become your own teachers. As you grow intellectually, you'll direct your own paths and decide what avenues you want to pursue. Your colleagues and mentors will be guides and partners, but you must be the driving force behind your own development. And with any luck, your ideas and discoveries will change the future. Sometimes these discoveries will be the result of serendipity and heightened observation. The classic example is the penicillium mold and Alexander Fleming. Now, penicillium was around long before Fleming got a culture contaminated with it, but it was his perspicacious eye that recognized that this mold must be releasing something that killed bacteria, and the rest is history. Penicillin. Boy, did his observation, serendipitous observation, pay off for the rest of us. On the other hand, sometimes your discoveries will be the result of years of meticulous research and study. Isaac Newton was originally led to the foundations of calculus through seemingly unrelated paths and spent decades working out the details of a new and significant system of mathematics that would shape math and science for the future. So whether fortuitous or the fruit of deliberate intent, these are the actions of people who thought beyond the possible and changed the world. Maybe some of you will also change the world. But chances are that nowadays you won't be working alone. Modern scientific research is a process of collaboration and partnership. You may find your collaborators across the School of Medicine, or across the nation, or around the world. Open yourselves to the many modes of thinking and many modes of discovery. Huge advancements have been made when people of all disciplines come together to work on a problem. What might you accomplish working with the experts in engineering or statistics or mathematics or the social sciences? What can you learn from colleagues in history or the arts that might generate bold new advancements in your field? You've got to keep asking yourselves these questions, and they may unlock new doors in surprising ways. For example, the discovery of the cystic fibrosis gene by a team that included our own professor, Dr. Mitchell Drum, could never have occurred without many, many physicians providing clinical samples and many investigators painstakingly sequencing snippets of DNA for years. We didn't have the modern methods that we have now then. This was a very labor-intensive and painstaking process. But Dr. Drum's choice of cystic fibrosis as a target disease occurred because of his hometown. His former next-door neighbor had just had a child with this disease. Mitch cared about the people in his environment, and he mobilized an army of clinicians and scientists to help. I can also tell you in a recent conversation over a dinner table at my house, some of our professors were over for dinner with a philanthropist who lives in town, and one of them got to talking about his work on myelin. He told us that only the shrimp and the earthworm make myelin the way humans do, and I got to take his word for that. He had chosen to work on the earthworm, but they were hard to sustain. Now, the philanthropist happened also to be a rare book collector, and it turns out, I wonder if you knew this because I didn't, Charles Darwin's last book was on earthworms. Did you know that? I didn't know. Anyway, he'd read it, and he had it in his collection, and he told our professor that he needed very deep soil to grow earthworms because they like to sit vertically instead of horizontally. Wow, so this was a great insight, but the professor persisted in listing his issues. It bothered him, he said, that he couldn't study the same earthworm over and over because he had to kill them to get at their myelin. So another professor at the table, in our Department of Radiology, also at the dinner table, said that he could image myelin in an earthworm if they could make it lie still. And the philanthropist said, well, if you wet your finger with alcohol and run it up the earthworm, it'll lie still. And so they did. And so a sophisticated study of myelin was aided by a rare book collector and a highly expert colleague. And what was the upshot of all this? Well, our professor with the worms recently formed a spin-out company to study approaches to producing more myelin in patients with multiple sclerosis. Believe it or not, there is no multiple sclerosis drug on the market that actually increases the synthesis of myelin. It should go without saying that beyond the worms, this potentially game-changing research took painstaking work with cells and animals and high-throughput screening and imaging, all very time-consuming, but it's emotionally consuming as well. So I have a word to say to the parents and family and friends who are here today supporting our new researchers. It's not easy all the time to support a serious scientist. Biomedical research requires an exceptional amount of time and dedication, odd hours, distraction, missed dinners, and eureka moments in the middle of the night. And that can take a toll on their loved ones. But I can assure you that your encouragement and support have been and will continue to be crucial components in the achievements of these remarkable men and women. I hope that our students remember to thank you, those of you who love and support them. I hope they thank you early and often and sincerely. Without them, the road to discovery would be harder and the success less sweet. Your position here and in science at large comes with great responsibility. Your research, your work, even your education is mostly funded by outside sources. You have a duty to strive for excellence, not only for yourself and your field, but for the people and the foundations that trust you will make the most of their generosity. And whether you fully realize it or not, today you enter into a covenant with the profession and with science to seek truth where it leads and to always act with the highest integrity. Science demands truth, and you must demand no less from yourselves. And no matter what department or field you decide to pursue, you are always part of a larger community. We like to think your family is really the Case Western Reserve School of Medicine, but you're also part of the larger university community and part of Cleveland and its environs. The broader community will be your inspiration and sometimes your salvation. Get involved. Ask how you can serve your community, the school, the department, your city. How can you step outside your lab and your research and become an active participant for good in the surrounding world? There's so much knowledge in this world yet to be uncovered and understood. You have an amazing opportunity to explore and to learn. You enter a time in which you control your own learning, but you can also derive help and support from your peers and from your mentors. I love the quote that names this ceremony. The seeds of great discovery are constantly floating around us. Isn't that a wonderful image? They only take root in minds well prepared to receive them. We will help to prepare your minds and capture and nurture those seeds. For your part, you must be willing to receive them and allow them to grow. The path to discovery is part of the fun and excitement. Just wait and see what amazing things will grow from those little seeds. So I'm truly honored to welcome you to the start of a wonderful adventure, full of great joys and challenges. As you accept that white coat, you accept the responsibility and the opportunity to take on discovery science with an open mind and a willing spirit. And I can't wait to see what you all will accomplish. Thank you very much.
Would the ushers please escort the first group of students to line up? And I want to introduce Dr. George Dubya, Professor of Physiology and Biophysics, and the Director of our Biomedical Sciences Training Program.
Good afternoon. I really want to thank Dean Davis for her remarks because it gave me a good introduction. As she indicated, modern biomedical research requires input from many different disciplines, many different approaches. And that's really the guiding spirit behind the Biomedical Sciences Training Program. There are going to be 15 PhD programs that the students represent that they'll eventually be entering into. But at this point in their careers and their training, many of them are more motivated by asking questions about diseases or mechanisms, and they haven't defined which toolkit of biochemistry or genetics they want to use it. Good example, and sort of in the news today, we heard the sad news about Senator McCain with suffering from glioblastoma. So you may have one of our students in the audience who may be motivated by interest in brain cancer, like glioblastoma. But does he or she want to study that from the standpoint of studying it as a PhD in pathology and cancer biology? Or maybe from the perspective of getting a PhD in neuroscience to study how those cancer cells can perturb normal brain function? Or maybe with a PhD in pharmacology to study how drugs can be targeted to control that disease. And that's really the guiding spirit behind interdisciplinary programs like the BSTP. Students are admitted with questions and concepts that they want to study, but they don't have to commit to a particular PhD program. Rather, they can do lab rotations and take courses in the different disciplines that you'll be seeing, and then choose after about 6 months which PhD program they'll matriculate in. So the BSTP encompasses 11 of the PhD programs in the School of Medicine, and I'm honored actually to introduce the first of those, the Department of Biochemistry, the Chair of Biochemistry, Dr. Vivian Yee, and the Program Director for the PhD program in Biochemistry, Dr. Martin Snyder. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm very pleased to introduce Dr. Snyder as our Graduate Program Director, who will then introduce our students. The goal of the discipline of biochemistry is to understand biological processes from a molecular point of view. Biochemists use an array of different techniques to study the biological function of molecules such as proteins, DNA, RNA, fats, and sugars. This knowledge is valuable in understanding the molecular basis of health, of disease, and also to provide information to help in developing therapeutics. So it's my honor to introduce the students who have expressed an interest in biochemistry. The first is Tahini Al-Sinani, who comes to us from King Abdul Aziz University from Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. Our second student is Catherine Huron from Michigan Technological University, hailing from Houghton, Michigan. Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Bob Kirsch. I'm the chair of Biomedical Engineering. I'm joined today by Stathis Karathanassis, who is the associate chair of BME for the School of Medicine. Biomedical engineering is the application of engineering principles to problems in biology and medicine. Our faculty and our students perform discovery research, develop diagnostic tools, and invent new treatments for medical conditions. So I'd like to welcome our incoming PhD class. First is Sri Ramya Ayagari from the University of Maryland. Welcome, thank you. Yi John Chen from Case Western Reserve University. Pratush Chira from Case Western Reserve University. Thank you. Aidan Friedrich, Colorado State University. Kaylin Gasvoda from Case Western Reserve University. Paul Gloth, Mississippi State University. Ryan Hall, Case Western Reserve University. Congratulations. Amog Hirmath, SDM College of Engineering and Technology. George Hefferlin, The Ohio State University. Naomi Joseph, University of Pittsburgh. Kiwon Kim, Case Western Reserve University. Yoo-Jun Kim, Case Western Reserve University. Tahseen Minhus, Bangladesh University of Technology, of Engineering and Technology. Colin Nicolescu, Boston University. Leah Roldan, Cornell University. Junwoo Su, Washington University in St. Louis. Pranjal Vidya, Vishwakarma Institute of Technology. Derek Wells, Robert Morris University. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Jim Spilsbury. I'm the co-director of the PhD program in Clinical Translational Science. I'm joined here by Dr. Colin Drummond, who is a professor of biomedical engineering and a member of the steering committee that guides our PhD program. Clinical science conducts research to discover ways to promote health and to understand, prevent, and treat human disease and illness. Translational science turns these discoveries that are made in the laboratory or clinic into new procedures and treatments, and ultimately into new community-wide practices and policies. Clinical translational science thus represents the field of knowledge that conducts and speeds up clinical research work from the lab to the patient bedside and even to the community. Students in the program are trained in the theory and practice of clinical translational science in order to make significant clinical discoveries and to move these discoveries towards treatment, practice, and policy. So it's my pleasure to introduce 4 of our incoming students. Ifeoluwa Babatunde from Union University. Stephanie Merlino from Case Western Reserve University. Lorianne Menick from Kent State University. And Julia Yang from Smith College.
Hello, I'm Tony Winshaw-Horace, and I'm the chair of the Department of Genetics and Genome Sciences, and I'm joined on stage by our graduate program directors, Dr. Hua Lu and Dr. Ann Matthews. So genetics is the study of heredity and variation of inherited characteristics, while genomics addresses all genes at once and their interrelationships in order to try to identify their combined influence on growth and development of an organism or even in disease. Faculty members in our department use genetics and genomics tools to study basic and applied aspects of development, human genetic disorders, and cancer, as well as to develop new therapeutic compounds and strategies. In addition, we have all the clinical genetics at university hospitals in our department and a training program for genetic counselors headed by Dr. Matthews, providing direct opportunities for clinical translation. And it's my pleasure to introduce our new students in the program. First, Geneva LaForce from Ball State University. Cece Lai from Sichuan Normal University. Anna Miller from Albion College. Matthew Moore from Fairfield University. Otis Pinkard from the University of Cincinnati. Wanying Zhu from Harbin Medical University.
Good afternoon. My name is Alan Levine. I am the graduate program director of actually 3 programs that I'll describe to you in a moment, but I'm here representing the chair of the Department of Molecular Biology and Microbiology, John Karn, who is unable to make it tonight and wishes you all the very best. I am joined today by Dr. Alan Tartikoff, who is director of the cell biology program. I mentioned our department has 3 graduate programs. The first is molecular virology. And at Case Western Reserve University, most of the virology research we do is toward HIV, and I am pleased to tell everyone here that Case Western is one of only about 15 to 20 universities in the entire country supported by an NIH grant known as the Center for AIDS Research. Our second research program is cell biology. Cell biology is a study of how the human cell, in most cases, but it could be any organism, actually operates. What are the biochemical, molecular, and genetic mechanisms by which the cell responds to environmental stimuli? Our third program is molecular biology and microbiology, and this is a study of mostly bacteria, and it is a program directed at understanding the basic science behind what drives a bacterial infection and the interaction between the bacterial infection and the host. It is my pleasure to introduce students in our program. The first is Jose Diaz-Aponte from the University of Puerto Rico, Humanico. Jose. I welcome Blessing Ina from the Savannah State University. Allow me to introduce Sarah Kohert from Furman University. Let us meet Emma Kudrasik from Grand Valley State University. May I introduce Kimberly Parker from Rutgers University. And please welcome Carson Smith from Liberty University.
Good afternoon. My name is Jonathan Smith, and I'm chair of the Molecular Medicine Department of the Cleveland Clinic Lerner College of Medicine of Case Western Reserve School of Medicine. And that's a long one. And I'm joined here today by Dr. Christine Moravec, who's the director of the Research Education Training Center at the Cleveland Clinic Lerner Research Institute, and also the director of admissions of our Molecular Medicine PhD program. It's my pleasure to introduce our incoming students today. First, we have Jessica Castrillon from Baylor University. I realize I forgot to tell you a little bit more about our program, so I'll interrupt this after you shake hands and leave to say that the goal of our program is to train the next generation of translational researchers. And we do that by including human physiology and medical knowledge in our curriculum. And then we have each student, in addition to research advisor, also has a clinical co-mentor who not only directs them independent study in clinical experience during their second year, but also is on their PhD thesis committee throughout their time in our program. And I'll continue with introductions. Sorry about that. Morgan Engelhardt from University of Mount Union. Next, I'd like to introduce Mishka Gidwani from Cornell University. Next, I'd like to introduce Cassandra Gilmore from California State University, San Marcos. Next, I'd like to introduce Javier Lopez Rivera from John Carroll University. Next, I'd like to introduce William Massey from the College of Holy Cross. And last, I'd like to introduce Shilpa Rao from the Loyola University, Chicago.
Good afternoon. My name is Lin Mei. I'm chair of Department of Neurosciences. I'm joined by Program Director, Dr. Heather Boyd. So neurosciences focus on the brain, where the seed of a great discovery eventually will take root. So we study how 87 billion of nerve cells in the brain are formed and how they are connected. We study fundamental mechanisms of brain function and pathological mechanisms of brain disorders, including autism, schizophrenia, and Alzheimer's diseases. Our study contributes to better understanding of contributes to better diagnosis of these disorders and eventually their treatment. So it's my honor to introduce the four of our classes students. Daryl Jindal from Stanford University. Mallory Long from University South Carolina. Ivan Santiago Maduro. Oh, I forgot to say, University of Puerto Rico. Chen Shen, Huazhong University of Science Technology.
Have to lower that. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hope Barkoukas, and I am the chair of the Department of Nutrition, and I am fortunate enough to be joined by Dr. Chip Tilton. Dr. Tilton is one of our associate professors who is substituting for us for our graduate program director. So the Department of Nutrition is obviously focused on human nutrition. What exactly is the role of nutrition in health, in well-being, but also in disease prevention? We have a very robust research, but also educational programming ranging from the PhD, master's, dual degrees, and undergraduate studies. So we are very excited to welcome Joshua Centaur from St. Vincent College. Welcome. Joshua, we're looking forward to having you in our program. Thank you. Congratulations.
Good afternoon. I'm Cliff Harding, the chair of the Department of Pathology, and I'm joined here by Xiangwei Zhu, the director of the Pathology Graduate Program. From the Greek roots, pathology, the word means study of disease. Our program and our department address very basic aspects of biology, but also translational aspects that address human disease. And the graduate program also reflects that breadth, including mentors within the Department of Pathology, but also many faculty in other departments who participate in our graduate program. There are actually three constituent training programs within our graduate program: the immunology training program, the cancer biology training program, and the molecular and cellular basis of disease training program. The students, as for many of the other programs, include PhD students and MD PhD combined degree students who are now entering after the first 2 years of their medical school. So it's my pleasure now to introduce the students starting their PhD work. And the first is Muta Abif, coming to us from undergraduate work at Binghamton University in New York. Congratulations. Next is Noah Chernosky from University of Rochester. Next is Michelle Cruz, who did her undergraduate work at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. Next is Zachary Jackson from Cedarville University. Next is Lucas Jones from Roanoke College. We also have student George Luo from University of Wisconsin-Madison, and I think he's unable to be here today. So introducing our next student who's here now is William Miller-Little, who did his undergraduate work at Kenyon College. And next is Ivan Wabaza from Macquarie University. Next is Jasmine Olvani from Lebanon Valley College. Next is Lydia Raines from North Carolina State University. Next is Robert Schauner from Coe College. And next is Ling Xu from Carnegie Mellon University. And now we'll change over to Dr. Meal in the pharmacology program.
I am John Meal, Interim Chair of Pharmacology, and I'm joined by our graduate program director, Marvin Neiman. Pharmacology is a multifaceted discipline that brings together the concepts of chemistry, biochemistry, physiology, and pathology to focus on the discovery of novel drug targets and to understand how drugs elicit their effects on the body and how the body modifies those drugs. The graduate program in pharmacology embraces a broad array of experimental approaches and exciting projects among our trainers. I'm happy to introduce our students interested in pharmacology. Allison Grinnell, College of Worcester. Elizabeth Noss, Muskingum University. Nicole Meyer, Ohio University. Gene Moon, Ohio, University of Virginia. Katrina Piemonte, Ithaca College. And Matthew Plessinger, College of Worcester.
Good afternoon. My name is Walter Bourne. I'm the chair of the Department of Physiology and Biophysics, and I'm pleased to introduce Xin Shi, who's the deputy director of our PhD program, representing Corey Smith, who unfortunately was not able to make it because of being out of town, and he sends his regrets. Physiology, when spelled in Chinese, uses three characters, which quite literally mean the study of the logic of life. In English, it would be the study of function, and indeed we study the function of molecules at the atomic level. We study organelles such as the mitochondria and living cells, tissues, organs, whole animals, and indeed the entire human. And in fact, this Department of Physiology and Biophysics is one of the few in the world that goes all the way from atoms to entire human beings. Biophysics is the application of physical principles to biology, physical principles such as electromagnetism, optics, mechanics, and so forth. And it also includes the study of the folding and bending and the structure of individual molecules. And indeed, biophysics gives much of the quantitative background that characterizes physiology. And we're particularly interested in the brain, the heart and cardiovascular system, and the kidney. So I'd like to welcome 5 new graduate students. The first, Connery James Brennan from Miami University. Welcome. Next, Benjamin Dum from Grove City College. Next, Raza Heather from Emory University. Next, Bo Wen Jin from Huazhong University of Science and Technology. And finally, Ryan Lingerak from the University of Akron. Welcome. And now I'd like to introduce Jonathan Haynes, the Chair of Population and Quantitative Health Sciences.
Well, as you've already heard, I'm the chair of the Department of Population and Quantitative Health Sciences, and I'm sure you're all wondering what that means. We are a department that values multidisciplinary research. We value team science, and we have representation in our department from bioinformatics, biostatistics, epidemiology, genetics, health services research, and population health and public health. So we study things everywhere from cells to society, and our goal is to integrate that information and use that to help understand and improve the health of populations and individuals. And with that, I'll start introducing our students. Our first student is Wyatt Benskin from American University. India Gill from Wellesley College. Jesus Gutierrez from Dartmouth College. Michael McHenry from Emory University. Michael Osterman from the University of Michigan. Welcome. And Jiyi Zhang from Minzu University of China. And of course, as I do every year, I forgot to introduce our graduate program director, Dr. Scott Williams. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mark Cameron. Joining me on the stage here is Dr. Gurkan Bebek, and we are representing the PhD program in systems biology and bioinformatics. We are also representing the co-directors of the program, Drs. Mark Chance and David Ladowski. So the program provides training in translational bioinformatics and molecular and computational biology. And essentially, we want to work with students to get the massive amount of data that's currently stuck on computers and public databases out of those hidden sources and out into medical research and make sense of it. But more importantly, to make sure that that data was good to begin with. Also, to have this hybrid between computational biologist and biologist so that the students can participate in this new era of big data and medical research from top to bottom, or lead it themselves. And without further ado, joining us on this challenge today, first of all, is Mark Farrell from University of Florida. Welcome to sunny Cleveland. Thank you. And Vachan Vadmal from University of California, San Diego. Also, welcome to sunny Cleveland. Thank you.
Would you all please stand and congratulate these amazing students? Please, congratulations all. So in addition to celebrating this incoming class of PhD students, the Graduate Program Directors Leadership Council and I wanted to take just a few minutes to also recognize several of our more senior PhD students. In addition to being outstanding young research scientists in the lab, these young professionals go above and beyond the typical PhD student, providing leadership in a number of key areas that benefit peers, faculty, the School of Medicine, CWRU, and the Cleveland community. They play invaluable roles leading BSTP recruitment, organizing our annual Biomedical Graduate Student Symposium, and community outreach events such as DNA Day, Cleveland Food Bank, Ronald McDonald House, and others. Many have leadership roles in the Biomedical Graduate Student Organization, or BGSO, and the Graduate Student Council. These students invest time outside lab to give back, to make the institution a better place, and to help others. I am very pleased to recognize the following students with School of Medicine Graduate Leadership Awards, and they are collectively Megan Forrest, Genetics and Genome Sciences, Sarah Groft, Department of Pathology, Sahil Gulati from the Department of Pharmacology, Hannah Hill from the Department of Pharmacology, Savannah Mills, Department of Biochemistry, Aaron Pontig from Genetics and Genome Sciences, Rita Tomei from Molecular Medicine, and Leah Zagora from the Department of Biochemistry. Thank you all for all that you do. It is my great pleasure to introduce our final speaker for today. We began this tradition at our second Seeds of Discovery event in 2014, and if you do something 2 years in a row, you can call it a tradition. So our tradition at Seeds of Discovery is that the final speaker is one of you. It's one of your own. Each year, we select a student that went through the last year's Seeds of Discovery to close the ceremony. Parth Mujmudar received his BS in Honors Biology from Belmont University and a Master's of Science in Biomolecular Science from Lipscomb University, both in Nashville, Tennessee, one of my favorite cities. While at Lipscomb University, Parth researched the role of the endothelin axis in invasiveness and prognosis of breast cancer. His research was recently published in a leading cancer journal. Parth is continuing his interest in breast cancer and is currently in Dr. Ruth Carey's lab in the Department of Pharmacology. Ladies and gentlemen, Parth Mujmudar, second-year PhD student in pharmacology.
Good afternoon. Let me start by congratulating you on beginning the challenging journey, but also rewarding journey, to a biomedical PhD. You have worked very hard to get to this point in your education, and I am honored to have this opportunity to welcome you, the next generation of scientists, and now my colleagues, to our Case Western Reserve University Biomedical Graduate Programs. I know you're all diligently working in your lab rotations, at least you'd better be, but take the time to savor this moment and celebrate your accomplishments with your loved ones. I promise you that by the end of this journey, you will have accomplished much more than you originally thought possible. Now, when I say the end of this journey, I'm talking specifically about your quest to earn a PhD. Education itself, however, is a lifelong pursuit. As the Indian philosopher Krishnamurti once said, there is no end to education. It is not that you read a book, pass an examination, and finish with education. The whole of life, from the moment you are born to the moment you die, is a process of learning. This is especially true in science. You'll work relentlessly on a project for several years and ultimately defend your work, becoming an expert on your topic and publishing original discoveries. But there will always be another question to answer, another observation to follow up, another hypothesis to test. Of course, I'm sure you're already aware of this. You wouldn't be sitting here in those fresh white coats with excitement on your faces if you weren't fully committed to and passionate about the pursuit of scientific knowledge. Standing here before you, remembering my own white coat ceremony just last year, I want to share a few words that I hope will help you along this journey. If you were to ask me what fundamental guiding principle underlies this journey, I'd say Neil deGrasse Tyson has already stated it quite eloquently. There is no greater education than one that is self-driven. You should get into the habit of reading scientific papers on your own, looking up new techniques used in those papers, and Googling the terms or concepts you don't understand. Take charge of your education. I still remember during my very first rotation, the PI asked me to prepare a protocol for running an immunoprecipitation. As I'm walking him through it, he stops and asks me to list the components of lysis buffer and their function. Now, I've done many Westerns previously, and yet I had never questioned something which seemed so basic. It's a thought process which has stayed with me, and even as I joined a different lab, I still find myself looking up random reagents just to understand how they work. Be inquisitive, and seek out answers without first being asked the questions by somebody else. And that leads me to my next point. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Your PI, postdocs, older students, your friends sitting beside you, all are excellent resources when you're unsure about a protocol or just need someone to commiserate with. And also, don't forget about student organizations. Here's my shameless plug for BGSO since I'm the new social coordinator. The Biomedical Graduate Student Organization is an incredible resource that will make it easier to meet people in other departments, relax after a tough week through organized socials, or attend seminars led by established individuals from industry or other institutions. Regardless of what you do, though, I encourage you to find a group that not only that not only celebrates with you, but also supports you in your times of need. You'll have good days where you'll get the perfect data. And you'll also have bad days when you get frustrated because you just can't get an experiment to work. In those moments, I want you to think about something Barack Obama once said. The real test is not whether you avoid failure, because you won't. It's whether you let it harden or shame you into inaction, or whether you learn from it, whether you choose to persevere. Don't let failure discourage you. I can't tell you how long it took me to master cloning. No, not because I don't remember, I just don't like thinking about those miserable times. But a small part of me is thankful because I learned from the many obstacles I faced during that process, and it has made me a better scientist. You know that common phrase that goes something along the lines of, nothing worthwhile is easy? That is certainly true in grad school. Approximately 5 years from now, you'll appreciate that the hardships you faced along the way have challenged you, strengthened you, improved you, and it will fill you with a sense of accomplishment and pride that you have truly earned that PhD. As you can probably tell by now, I love a good quote. So I want to leave you with one final saying. American psychologist and professor Adam Grant once said, "The mark of higher education isn't the knowledge you accumulate in your head. It's the skills you gain about how to learn." Yes, your studies here will grant you extensive knowledge on a specific topic in a specific field, but the analytical, technical, professional, and social skills you gain while here are what will shape you much more as you move beyond grad school. The ability to not only read and understand, but more importantly, critique a scientific paper. The ability to question and analyze conclusions drawn from presented data. The ability to collaborate with others in a variety of fields. Team science. These are all crucial skills to possess as scientists. You have made the right decision in entrusting Case Western Reserve to teach you these skills. We are all honored to have you join this distinguished community and look forward to seeing you grow over the next 5 years. Welcome and congratulations.
Thank you very much, Parth. Okay, we're done. Before we begin our procession out, I just wanted to say a final word of congratulations to all of our incoming students. I also wanted to recognize and publicly thank several people that were instrumental in putting this together today. First and foremost, the dedicated staff of the Graduate Education Office. They're all standing back there. Debbie Nordine, Grace Filar, Cheryl Thompson, Arissa, and a huge, huge shout out to Milana Bay for her countless hours of effort, stress, sweat, laughs, and occasional frustrations in making this a very special day for all of us. Thank you, Milana. The students in the Biomedical Graduate Student Organization and others for helping us at the guest luncheon and ceremony today. Dean Davis, the Dean of our School of Medicine, for your financial support of this ceremony and for embracing the concept that lies underneath this ceremony. Walter Boron, the Executive Director of our PhD programs, for his continual support and encouragement of our students and myself. And I want to thank and recognize our past graduates, parents, and benefactors from the community who have financially invested in our programs and that help support this ceremony and hopefully the eventual formation of a PhD endowment fund. Finally, I would like to, if you would all kindly take a few moments to fill out the brief survey and guest information that is in your programs, we would really appreciate it. We want to continually improve this event, and your feedback on this would be very helpful. Please rise for the exit procession. I would like all entering PhD students as well as their chairs and GPDs to follow Dean Davis and myself out in the exit procession and join us immediately for a group photo on the library lawn. Thank you all again.